Welcome to the Artwork of You, the podcast where your life is the canvas and you are the masterpiece. I'm your host, Lori Gouhin, and together we'll explore creativity, self-awareness, mindset, goal strategy, and the importance of accountability so that you can paint your life's portrait with confidence and ease. Remember, in the gallery of life, you're not just a spectator, you are the art. So let's grab our brushes and start creating the masterpiece that is you. Hello, my friends. I am so glad that you are here with me today because today we have a very special guest. We have Kate Assaraf. She is the founder and CEO of Dip Sustainable Haircare. She is a Forbes columnist and New Jersey's Mompreneur of the Year 2024. After experiencing an emotional and financial fallout of closing her first business, Kate rebuilt from rock bottom with a new mission to create a beauty brand that heals more than just hair. Dip is a plastic-free, salon-quality hair care line built on integrity, intention, and small business values. Welcome to the Artwork of You, Kate. I am so glad to have you here today.
Thank you so much for sharing your time and your space with me.
Absolutely. Let me just start off by first saying I love your product. I was not familiar with it, and I must say I was a little skeptical at first. Specifically, I think about the conditioner bar. I thought, oh, that's not going to get the knots out for me. But oh my gosh, I love both products and the hair and body oil as well.
Oh,
Really,
thank
really
you.
great stuff.
Thanks so much. Yeah, the conditioner bar was really the whole reason my company existed in the first place because I felt that so many fell short of what I expected a conditioner to do. And yeah, it's my magnum opus. I love that thing so much. So thank you for calling that one out specifically.
Awesome. Yeah. And I made my husband try it too. He's like, now what am I doing in here? And I'm like, the round one is conditioner. The other one is the shampoo. Just use that one. But he's like, oh, this is really good. I really love it. And I was
Amazing.
surprised at how much it really lathers.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted the experience to be the same. So it really felt like the only thing you were getting rid of was the bottle,
Yeah.
but you're actually with Dip, if you're buying really expensive salon grade hair care, which a lot of women do, it's like our one indulgence now. The Dip bars will save you a lot of money. Like the conditioner bar alone, you'll see even with the two of you using it, it might last more than a year.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love that you can also leave it in if you want, I think. And I live close by the beach and I go to the ocean a lot and I love swimming in the ocean and the pool. So I think that's awesome to just take that bar with you.
Yeah, and it won't melt in the sun. I think it can stay up to like 110, 115 degrees before it starts to get softer. But like I made sure that it won't melt if you take it to the beach because that was something that really concerned me, like having a conditioner bar that would just melt all into your beach bag or
Yeah,
your
I
towel.
wasn't even thinking that, but that's great. That's great to know. I guess you could always put it in a cooler, but you don't need to. So
Yeah.
perfect.
But that's actually why it's called dip, is so you dip the bar in water and run it down your hair and you're good to go.
Perfect. 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 Let's talk first about Mompreneur of 2024. That's so exciting. Do you have one child, multiple children?
So I have two children. They're both boys. One is 7 and the other one is 9. And it's a really, I don't know, it's a fun gig. Like
Yeah,
being
I
a
have
mom
three
has
girls,
been.
so
You
no,
do?
yeah, no boys, three girls. So how did that all come about?
So I applied on a whim. I had a friend who had won it in 2020. My friend Deanna, she owns Good Bottle Refill Shop, and she was actually the first person to expose me to refilling as an option. So you go to her store and you can refill hand soap, laundry soap, everything's plastic free. And I went to her soft opening as a stranger in 2019. And the whole concept of refilling all of these things that we already had bottles for blew my mind. And so I remember her winning in 2020, and I thought, I just saw an advertisement like, oh, shoot your shot for Mompreneur of the Year. And so I did. And actually, when they called me to say like that I won, I thought it was a prank call. Like I thought there was no way. There was no way because I'm very quiet about my business, to be honest, and even my social media as a person, I'm quiet and private. And I felt so elated that the thing that I was doing and the thing that I was making and the way I was running my business caught the attention of New Jersey Family, which is a big magazine here in New Jersey. It felt surreal.
That's amazing. I always say Validation is not necessary. We don't need it, but boy, it's sure a nice bonus when it happens.
Yeah, and there's something about being an entrepreneur and a mother. It's a very difficult to be either one of those things. So I almost feel like the term mompreneur kind of diminishes that. But
Uh-huh.
honestly, it's like being a regular entrepreneur, except you're interrupted every 5 to 10 minutes.
Absolutely. Yes. And you have something always on your mind, right? Because there's always
Totally.
something going on with the kids and always something going on with business too. It's like one of those things you just don't leave it behind, a regular nine
Never.
to five job. Yeah. It's always there, always present.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't trade it for the world myself.
No, me either. Me either. Both gigs are wonderful.
Good. So tell me about you had another business that you said that you closed down, and I
Yeah.
understand I've had several businesses. Tell me about what were you doing before and what all happened.
So I had a similar business and ended up I didn't think I could do it myself. So I partnered up with another group and it ended up being that the partnership was it just didn't work out is the nicest way to say it. And what's so crazy is I put so much of my heart and soul. I was like the face and the voice behind that particular brand and I put so much heart and soul into it and it felt like when I had to close it when the partnership ended, I had to close it. It felt like a piece of me was being sawed off, if that made sense. Because I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to be so involved in our business, and work is such a large chunk of who you identify as when you're an American. People, first thing is, what do you do?
Yeah.
And when I started Dip, I decided I was like, I was never ever let my business be so important to me that it felt like a chunk of my body was missing when it went away. I don't know whether you had that experience too when you had other businesses close.
I never went into business with a partner.
Mm.
Let's talk about that for a minute because I do have a good friend who also had gone into partnership, and she describes this very similar experience when that partnership dissolved. It didn't work out for various reasons, but when it did dissolve, again, she had devoted so much time, energy, heart, soul, everything, and she, as you, was the face of the brand as well. And it really can take a toll on you, like as you describe a part of your body being gone. And I think she describes it in the same way. It just can really take a knock on your confidence as well. It makes it
Absolutely.
harder to go on. And it's funny you said that you felt like you couldn't do it alone. So you went into partnership. She describes the same thing.
Mhm.
So I wonder what that's about. I think a lot of times with women, I don't think that you see it as much with men that they feel that they can't do it alone. What do you think that's about?
Maybe we all have an unhealthy dose of imposter syndrome. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe we're trained as we grow up to think that women are more social and want to do things together, where maybe boys are raised to be fully confident and autonomous. I don't know which one it is or whether I had a lot of self-doubt starting a business. Starting a business is scary. Like
Yeah.
it's a scary thing. And I thought that I could find another person that would fill in the things that I didn't think were my best skills. And it turned out is I think you just cannot share your passion. I think that's the lesson I learned. Like if you're very passionate about something, you cannot expect someone else to be. Passion doesn't transfer. It's
Yeah.
something that I learned very quickly is that I would have been so much better off finding an employee or finding someone else like that didn't wasn't part of the big picture to have in the business in a different kind of capacity instead of partner. And it's a cautionary tale. A lot of us have this tale where we partnered with the wrong person and then you can't really tell any of the details of what happened, right? I had a partnership, it didn't work out, it killed the business. And then after the aftermath of that, where I can start is really like it's like the BCE, right? Like I had to spatula myself off the ground. It was like financially had nothing. I don't know how to explain the toll it takes on you, the amount of shame of publicly closing a business that all your friends have rooted for you and friends of friends, and then it gets to be actual like stranger customers root for you. And then the shame of just having zero explanation and closing that down and looking like a failure, even though the failure might not have been the business, the failure was the partnership.
Yeah.
It the shame is crippling, and I don't think I have ever experienced shame in that way. I think I would have rather peed my pants on stage than gone through like the business shame that I felt I was experiencing.
I love that. You really bring up a lot of important things. The first one being that your passion can't be transferred. I've never really heard it put that way before, but you're exactly right. It's to bring it back to moms. It's no one's going to love your kids the way that you do. That can't be
Totally.
transferred. People might love your kids, but not the way that the mom is going to love the kids.
Absolutely.
And yeah, in business the same way. And it does make sense for those of listeners, because I have a lot of entrepreneur listeners that are thinking of starting a business, to really give it some thought as to why you are choosing a partner. Is it because of your own
Yes.
limiting beliefs? Is it because it's a shared passion? That might be an okay way to go, but really reflect on what your reasons are. And I would say never do it because of limiting beliefs. Got to work through them first.
Yeah. I would
Um,
say it was the most expensive MBA I could have ever gotten. Just the lesson in business. It was one of those things where it's just, had I only been this person today that I was then, but that's the point of growth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it gets us
Through it.
somehow miraculously to right where we're supposed to be, even if we
Yeah.
can't see it at the time. Often we're too close to see it. But the other thing that you brought up was shame. And I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago, and one of the speakers at the conference, she lives in the Palisades, so she experienced those fires out in California. And the majority of her speech was about the fires. But she had also been Miss Canada. She's from Canada, so she was a pageant person. And at the end of her speech, which was really riveting, she brought up shame, and she brought up shame attached to not just things that are failures, but also shame around things that are supposed to be successes.
Yeah.
And I think she was alluding maybe to some of the pageant stuff and some other things. She was also a TV personality. But yeah, shame is a real thing. You can tell someone all day long, right? There's nothing to be ashamed of, but it is something we so internalize. And it's, I'd say, one of the hardest things to get out of.
I 100% agree. And I could not imagine the kind of shame and depression I felt until I went through it. I don't think I actually really understood mental health. I don't think I understood the concept. I didn't really understand it until I went through it. So I did 7 months of a business breakup, and I was so sick. I'm 5'8". I went down to 118 pounds. I started to
Wow.
lose my vision. I lost a lot of my hair from stress. And then I came out the other side, and I didn't even look like myself. I had lost like all confidence. I didn't lose a passion for hair. I loved hair, but then I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, how could I ever start a hair care brand? I have no hair left. It was one of those where it was like, I felt like everything I'd ever loved had been like ripped from me, and I felt angry, and I don't know how to explain how it really felt. But now looking back, it's almost like laughable that I felt that way. Like now that I'm on the outside of myself and I can cover over what happened, like how I was feeling, I'm the feel that intensity of how I felt doesn't make sense to me. And
Because
I've
you've come through the other side
yeah,
finally. It's
adjusted this business to not mean it's this business means a lot to me. I love my business, but I am not in love with my business.
Yeah, that makes sense. And let's talk for a minute about those feelings, because they can come from all different reasons. Maybe people going through divorce and a breakup that way, or people losing a business, and they really are at rock bottom, and it affects their health, it affects their confidence, their courage,
Mhm.
or maybe they haven't gone through anything significant like that, but a lot of people grow up in a situation where they've never been celebrated. And so they're just low confidence, imposter, all the things really their whole life, but they want to make changes and they want to start something. So, how were you able to go from quote unquote like a rock bottom kind of place to really just garner your strength and your courage again to not only just start another business, but start a similar business?
I had to fake confidence a lot. So in the beginning, I just took consulting jobs, and I saved everything I could from the consulting jobs and then put it aside as I was building Dip on the side. That's really what I did. I had to fake the confidence. Even though I felt empty inside. When I say empty, like beyond empty, like it's just I felt I was a phony for going in consulting because my business, the optics of it was that it had failed. But the reality was is I'd worn so many hats for that business and learned so much with it closing that I pretty much could look at any other thing and identify problem solutions really fast. And so I tricked myself into thinking that was some sort of superpower at the time.
I
So
think
I
it
had
is a superpower.
I
I
don't know. So I could like
definitely.
scrape enough in the pan to get myself some confidence to wear. And yeah, so I consulted, I saved. My husband had also lost his job during that time.
Ugh.
And so the two of us were just like, we have to make something work. We either have to both find jobs now, or we have to pare down everything we're spending, just put everything on hold. Let's not let the kids know how bad things are, even though they could tell I was like a zombie walking around my house. It was
Mm.
insane. And then let's just build. We did it once, we could do it again. Let's do it. And so we did. We tried really hard to not let the kids know. So we would wake up at 4:30 in the morning, work, then they would wake up, then we'd get them to school, and then we were able to work during that time. And then after they went to bed, we'd work again. And it was a lot. It was a lot.
I can totally relate to that because we went through a similar losing everything time back in 2008, 2009.
Oh my gosh.
And at the time I was homeschooling our kids. So they're around. We had a little one who's a toddler and middle
Mhm.
school and elementary school. And it was like everything I could do to shelter my kids from
Yeah.
knowing that. And some people might disagree with that because they say whatever, you shouldn't shelter them. They should know what's going on. But I did not want to give them any stress
Me
as
either.
children. And so it's just such a heavy weight to bear because you're dealing
Yeah.
with your own stress and then the stress of keeping it from your kids. I can so relate to that. And I'm sure a lot of people listening can as well. And that's
Life
something
will
I don't
hand
really hear people talk about much.
Yeah, life will hand them enough stress. If while they're little, you can keep their nervous systems intact. Like that was very important to me. I don't know what kind of upbringing you had, but my upbringing was like full of divorce and stress and all those things, and they let me know what was going on all the time. So I
Exactly the same. Plus, I grew up Catholic, which I think has a lot to do with shame and
oh
guilt.
yeah.
But yeah, no, same kind of thing. So yeah, I guess that makes sense that I would want to do the opposite
Yeah.
with my kids and you as well.
And who knows what's right? We won't find out until our kids have kids and they're like, no, we're gonna let them know everything that's going on. And it might just be like one of those pendulum swing things.
Yeah, you never know. You're exactly right. I can say I have two adult children now, actually three adult children. My youngest is in college, but they're beautiful people and they seem super well adjusted, if I do say so. But so I think it's a good, as long as you can keep a balance. I don't want to shelter them from everything. And of course, they need to know how things are on a certain level. But again,
Yeah.
when you're going through so much stress, especially financial stress, I don't think it's right to burden the children personally.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. I also love that you had got like a twinkle in your eye when you were talking about your children. It's just so nice
Uh-huh.
to see.
I can't help it. Yeah, they're great girls. I'm very blessed with a beautiful family. My husband and I have been married for 32 years.
Oh my
So,
gosh,
yeah. So,
that's amazing.
all good. But all right, so you have the courage now. Suddenly you're like, all right, nose to the grindstone, really, with your husband. And what makes you decide to start a similar company to the one before? Was there any concern around that or any?
I fought for the right to make sure that I could. So I had to start from scratch. I had to do everything new. Everything. I couldn't salvage anything from the other business. It's fine. I did everything from scratch. And I was like, you know what? If it's your second rodeo, you've got to do it better. Everything has to be better. And so I redid all of the research because information always changes.
Yeah.
I took everything I learned from that first business that made me like a sharper knife, and I went and I just went into dip knowing exactly who my customer was and who they weren't, exactly who's not being reached in the market and what motivated people to make sustainable choices versus what made people just not care at all. And all of that kind of all the learnings I got from that first business really shaped how I run this one. And I run this business so differently, and it is so freeing to run it differently and in my own way without any kind of expectations of growth or expectations of just, I'm not trying to be the biggest hair care brand in the world. Like, I don't need that. What I really love is just making a difference in with this certain set of customers that seem to really identify with what I'm trying to do.
I love that. And I love that something that I read about you is that you're not on Amazon and you're not sending things out to influencers. And again, like you said, you're not concerned with being the biggest or the whatever, the most wealthy brand. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because in today's economy, I'm sure you got a lot of pushback from so-called maybe experts telling you really need to be on Amazon or you really need to
Oh
have
yeah.
some kind of social media plan with influencers. But and again, staying true to your values. And you mentioned freedom. And to me, freedom is like my biggest core value. And
Yeah.
I think the freedom comes automatically when you stick to those values, which you clearly are doing. So Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. First of all, Amazon is one of these things that it's an amazing, it's a godsend for a lot of people that are in rural areas where they don't have stores. It's totally transformed shopping for so many people. But there's always a dark side to what some light, right? There is. And the
Mhm.
dark side is that it's destroyed the mom and pop stores in neighborhoods across America. It's even starting to destroy the Targets and the Walmarts but that's even and the big box. But my primary focus is the refill store owners, specifically the people that do all of the homework for you on what's good in the plastic free community, what's worth purchasing. Because what I learned from my first brand was about refilleries, like Deanna from Good Bottle Refill Shop. She opened the first refillery I'd ever walked into. And now I've been in probably 150 refilleries around the country. And what these people that own refilleries are doing is they are tasked with educating communities about which plastic-free items are great and what ingredients they should or shouldn't have in their household for the safety of their families. And in a world of just digital abundance where you're getting bombarded with ads and bombarded with, I don't know, all sorts of just information, fake, like cherry picked science and all sorts of stuff out there, the refill store owners are very grounded in truth and safety and ingredient knowledge. And if I put my products on Amazon instead of in a refillery, like they would lose all of their dip sales. I love having my products on a shelf where the store owners have vetted them, made sure that they're worthy of their shelves, and have tried. Dip has maybe over 200 competitors. These store owners have tried them all and have chosen to stock Dip, and that is very important to me. So it's like mutually beneficial for me to send people to their stores and also for them to stock it.
I love that. I can totally relate. One of our first businesses was we had a retail sporting goods store.
Oh,
We
nice.
sold mountain bikes, road bikes, skateboards, and snowboards. We lived in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. And so, as a mom and pop store owner for 10 years, we got out of that business at around the 10-year mark because it was so hard to compete at that time with the big box stores because Walmart and Target were starting to be able to sell the accessories retail for cheaper than we could buy them wholesale. And
Yeah.
so you start to see the writing on the wall, but there's nothing that can beat that mom and pop. You go in and have conversations with people, you have community with people, you make lifelong friends. You don't
Yeah.
get that on Amazon. Nobody's having a conversation with you, explaining the difference between this or that, or helping you decide what's maybe the best product for you.
Yeah. And people, it's a lost art shopping in small stores. I say go into a small store once, and that's like a cool experience, but go in there the second time. The feeling of having the store owner remember you is so nice, and remembering what you bought and knowing a little bit about you. Like I know even this is not a good example, but even the liquor store down the street, if I go and buy a bottle of wine, he'll always ask, "What's the occasion? Like, where are you going this time?" And he knows the other people in town. I should have used the bookstore as an
No,
example.
no, that's all good. I love it. I love it. I
But
love a good cocktail and glass of wine myself. That's all good.
but no, it's an amazing fiber of a community. And people don't even think about it. Every time decide to shop on Amazon instead of in your community, your money goes to Amazon, which doesn't pay its fair share of taxes. But if you shop in your own town, your money gets recirculated through the libraries, the police departments, fire departments, EMTs, like all of stuff is your money then works for you.
Yeah. As an artist, I'm always encouraging people to buy from a local artisan. I do sell online, of course, as well, but I'm not mass produced. I only sell original work. I don't even sell prints, which may or may not change. But for now, as long as I've been an artist, I've chosen only to do original work. And I think it's so important to celebrate and support local artists, whether that's an artisan making shampoo and conditioner or an artisan like me making paintings. It's so important. And I think sometimes it does get lost with all of the noise that's out there. And as you said, you're constantly being bombarded with ads. Sometimes I feel like social media is just one big ad. You're just scrolling and it's
Yeah.
everybody talking at you, trying to sell you something.
Yeah, it's very much that. And so, while every other brand goes digital, I just went analog. And I think, I just think it's a nicer experience to shop in a store.
I definitely agree. And I think that I hope that the tide will turn. Not that I want Amazon to not be in business or anything like that,
Totally.
but I hope that the tide And I think it will as more and more people search for and seek out community and connection with others. Just all the online meetings. I know we're having one right now, but there is a real pull to go back to in-person stuff, in-person work, and in-person
Yeah.
networking, and in-person buying.
Yeah, and I don't work in an office anymore. I'm working out of my home, but I remember how fun it was to go to an office, be part of something bigger than myself. There's something so lost about now we're making transactions online and you're like siloed and you're sitting or just idle somewhere shopping instead of going out and just experiencing the tactile feel of just being around the merchandise before you buy it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, what do you think's next on the horizon? Do you feel like, is there anything you want to expand within the dip product line or
I
anything
don't
else?
I don't know. I'm not on a search for growth. I'm going to search for just kind of transformation and getting more people aware of that shampoo and conditioner bars can be amazing and they can save you a lot of money. That's like a big deal for me because I think we're just the economy we're going into. People, especially women, feel guilty for indulging in like 60, $70 shampoo and conditioner. Like it's almost like it feels icky now to spend that much money on on bottled shampoo and conditioner for not just for the plastic, just the economics of it. But I hope people start to make a shift over to find more plastic-free items. And whether that's dip or not, it doesn't matter. But if someone listens to this and finds their local refillery and starts to think twice about the way they shop, that's kind of the bigger picture for me beyond shampoo and conditioner. I don't like I could talk about hair all day and I haven't really done much talking about hair right now, but it is like it's very much, I don't know, if I could figure out a plastic-free way to do really good hairspray, that might be the next thing.
Oh,
But
yeah. I wonder, could you put it in glass or no
I
with the
think you
aerosol?
can. I think you can. It's just my opinion is if another brand has already solved the problem, then I wouldn't chase the problem also.
That
Um,
totally makes sense. Yeah.
but I do, the hair and body dry oils are relatively new. They launched in November, and I'm waiting for this first summer for people to experience what it's like to put like oil on their legs and have it immediately dry. Like so you can just put on shorts and get in your car. Because
Yeah,
that,
no, I love the product and I love the glass packaging. All the
thank you.
packaging is really nice. I'm a sucker for packaging, but yeah, it's all really nice. And I was shocked when I read that it does last 6 months. I thought, no way, like a bar of soap or something, but
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, wait, you can call me in a year. You'll probably still have some conditioner left, which is crazy.
Wow, that is amazing. That is crazy. And so, how about if we maybe give the listeners some tips? As I said, a lot of people are budding entrepreneurs, or maybe they already have a business up and running, and they're trying to maybe be more in line with their values, like you are, or maybe they are trying to grow a little bit. But what kind of strategies or tips do you have on what you think really helped you this second go around?
Okay, the second go around, the thing that I learned the most was that it is way better to hire someone to help you with something that you're not confident about than to make that person the other half. So that's number one. It's
Yes.
it's for me, for example, I'll use a simple thing like email marketing. It took me so long to learn, but once I hired someone to do it, it was set up and it was fast and it's efficient. It's like, why did I bother working hard to try and make these beautiful emails when someone else can do it like that? That's their expertise. That's the whole point of specializing in something, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
like I wouldn't go to a GP for heart surgery. So it's the same thing in business. You have to remember, like, you don't need to be good at everything. So I think that's the second thing is you don't really need to be good at everything. You can find someone else who's really great at stuff. And that might seem so obvious, but I think what happens, and especially with a lot of the women entrepreneurs I know, they try and learn everything and tackle everything and think, I can do this, I can learn, and you probably could, but why?
Oh, why? Yeah.
But
Yeah,
why?
no, exactly. That's why I have a podcast editor. I did not want to take the time to learn
Right.
editing, and it actually prevented me from starting my show for so long because I was like, oh, I don't know how to do the intro music. What the heck? Somebody
And
else
you
knows how to do that.
Yeah, and so that makes so much more sense. Imagine how far behind you'd be if you were still editing yourself. It just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. And
Yes.
so the last thing I would say is just it's okay to not want to have a super big business. Like I think we're also trained as Americans to want to be like a household name. Like I don't want to be Sarah Blakely. Like I don't want I don't want to be forced on my face on TikTok all the time or giving hot takes. You don't have to do that. You can actually have a really nice business where you can like keep some of your privacy. You don't have to expose your kids to all of this external noise all the time, and you don't have to listen to anyone's advice. Like you really don't, especially mine.
Yeah.
Like, you don't listen to
No, I
my
love that. And this is going to be such a nice follow-up to my episode that actually released today. And I talk about that in goals. And sometimes you're chasing these dreams that aren't even your own because they maybe look good on paper or they
yeah.
sound good or it's something somebody told you should be doing. And the reality is when you strip all that away, maybe you actually want a simpler life. Maybe you don't want to scale a business or you just want something more simplified, and that's okay. And it shouldn't be looked down upon as that you're not hustling enough or whatever. As you
I,
mentioned earlier, staying true to your values.
I just want to live with and spend time with my family and my kids. And the nice thing about it is I get to talk about hair all the time. And I like,
Yeah. So tell
it's
me about hair. What is your infatuation with hair? Like, was that since you were little? Did you
yeah,
go to
I just,
cosmetology school?
no, I never went to cosmetology school. Actually, I studied economics and math, but I've always just my whole life been fascinated by hair. I love it. If I was going to live my life again, I would probably go to cosmetology school, but I've had every kind of hair. I've had long hair, short hair, blonde hair, black hair, purple. I had a purple beehive when I lived in Manhattan.
Oh,
I've had
wow.
like, micro braids like Bo Derek with extensions. I've had literally every kind of silver hair. I had my hair done silver and editorial style for a magazine once. I've just love hair. And I think hair says so much about someone, especially when you see someone with a really expressive haircut or like blunt bangs or I don't know, like that when someone decides to go really platinum with dark roots, or when you see really beautiful type four, like in hair in twists. I just love that you can wear a jeans and a white t-shirt every day and your hair is really the statement.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. You do have beautiful hair. So no
Thank you.
doubt from your
It's
product.
back now.
Is there anything that I haven't touched on that you wanted to share or that you think would be valuable?
One last thing about dip, what
Yeah,
it's the whole
absolutely.
point of it being out is the shampoo is made so that you don't have to choose between your workout and a good hair day. It's gentle enough so you if you're like training for a marathon or if you're someone who, does yoga or Pilates, like you can use the shampoo every day and not worry about whether your hair like can take another shower because everyone's worried about getting rid of all the natural oils. It doesn't strip your hair. And the conditioner can replace 12 tubes or a year of very expensive hair care. So for me, the conditioner bar, you buy it once and it will replace for me $500 worth of just conditioner, which is like so nice to not have to buy those things anymore. It can
Yeah,
also replace like leave-in conditioners and detanglers. And so if you ever go swimming or to the pool, the dip conditioner, even if you don't want it as your main conditioner, the dip conditioner bar is like the best thing to detangle your hair or your child's hair. If you have children, like girls with long hair, I get so many emails from parents that they're like, this is the best because they just it doesn't get in their eyes because you control where it goes
that's
and they
important.
can brush through and they don't have to rinse it out.
Yeah, I can attest to the detangling for myself. Absolutely. And I have pretty long hair and it just combed right through.
And between a parent and yet like a little girl, like that can either be a nice bonding time of the day or it can be the most stressful time of the day.
My
And so,
youngest has
oh
really curly hair,
oh,
long
yeah.
curly hair. And yeah, when she was little, just the last thing she wanted after a shower or a bath was for me to comb her hair.
Yeah. And so I get so many, I get so many emails. It's mostly from dads that are like, oh my God, I've been detangling my daughter's hair forever and I wish I found this sooner.
I love it. And where do you see, what did you call it? The
The refill stores.
refill stores. Okay, where do you see that going? What are like some of the, because I'm not even familiar. I'm going to have to look now in my Myrtle Beach. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I'm going to have to look and see what's here. Where do you see that going? What are some of the top businesses and where are your products so that people know? Are there specific stores or are they all independently
They're
owned?
all independently owned.
I know you're in surf shops, right?
And in surf shops and
Yeah.
in hair salons. So those three lanes are pretty good enough for me. It's exactly where our customer shops, so it's that's where I want it to be. And I love that they're independently owned. A lot of them have their own vibe when you walk in. It's true to that neighborhood, and I think it's very cool. But yeah, if you go to our store locator on dipalready.com, you can see the store that's closest to you. And if there isn't one, we've reduced our shipping costs. So we make it affordable to ship to you, but we truly want you to find the store or salon closest to you.
I love that. I love that. And so tell the listeners where they can find you. Again, mention your website. We'll put it all in the show notes as well, and your social media handles.
Sure. So you can find the products at dipalready.com, and remember the store locator. You can find at dipalready on TikTok and Instagram. And then I'm Kate Assaraf. You can find me on LinkedIn.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot, and I know our listeners did as well. And again, a great product. I cannot recommend it enough.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me.
That's a wrap for today, my friends. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And remember to show up in your life like the masterpiece you are, because you are the artwork. Please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Have a fabulous day.